This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
I am really glad to see that the prosecutor's office, the police department, everyone wants to move forward.
Now at 11, 2 Indianapolis Metro Police officers are facing charges, and a city-county councilor is hoping for restored trust between the community and police.
Today, Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears announced a grand jury indicted 2 officers seen in a video aggressively arresting 2 women during protests downtown. RTV6's Cornelia Soccer shows you what an elected official hopes the community learns from today's announcement.
See the system move the way it was supposed to, and in a way that wasn't politicized and wasn't a thing, it was refreshing.
Indianapolis City County Councilor Allie Brown on officers facing charges accused of battering the 2 women you see here on the ground back on May 31st.
This wasn't an okay thing. This wasn't normal.
Brown tells me she hopes this is a reminder to people in our community police can be held accountable.
Are removed from the force and face consequences for their actions.
In Wednesday afternoon's press conference, Prosecutor Ryan Mears says a grand jury's decision was based on the evidence presented to them and the law concerning police actions.
And the law's standard is it reasonable under the circumstances? You are to consider the severity of the crime, the threat posed by the individual involved, and whether or not that person was actively resisting at the time the incident occurred.
Brown doesn't want the behavior of some officers to paint the whole police department or law enforcement in general in a bad light.
It's something I have a great deal of respect for. My uncle was a police chief. My cousins are police officers.
By holding them accountable, Brown has hope for the community as a whole.
I believe in the goodness of people, and I believe in moving forward and working towards that more just and better union.
Working for you, Cornelia Soccer, RTV6.
And the officers indicted by the grand jury face 6 charges each. Officer Jonathan Horlock facing 3 battery charges along with perjury, obstruction of justice, and official misconduct. Officer Nathaniel Shawwacker is facing 4 battery charges and 2 official misconduct charges. IMPD Chief Randall Taylor says both officers will remain on administrative duty with no police authority, and the department is continuing an internal investigation. 2 additional IMPD officers were named in a lawsuit filed by the woman involved in this incident.
Today, Governor Eric Holcomb and other state leaders held their weekly news conference on the pandemic, and here are some of the issues they covered. The state is now launching a searchable long-term care dashboard. Nursing homes are required to submit their data to the state. The state will then verify the information and add it to the dashboard. The state health commissioner says officials are considering a school dashboard as well. And the governor is still not saying whether in-person voting will be expanded for the November election, but he stresses that he believes there are already multiple options to vote safely.
There are multiple means to vote. Obviously, I want to underscore this fact that if you are 65, if you are ill, if you are confined to your home, if you're knowingly going to be out of your county or your area on election day, then you should be requesting an absentee ballot. There has to be safe ways to vote if you can't in person, and there has to be obviously safe places to vote in person, and there are on multiple days leading up to that election day.
Governor Holcomb also addressed President Trump's executive order on unemployment benefits. The supplement funding calls on states to cover 25% of that cost. Well, the head of the Department of Workforce Development says a lot of new guidance is still being put together.
So right now, Indiana, just like many other states, all the other states, we're not in a position to give any definitive answers on just how that will look and how it plays out. The one thing that we do know for sure is that this will require us to create a new system yet again.
Commissioner Fred Payne says the department is still working with federal partners before making any decisions.
Starting Friday, landlords across Indiana can start the eviction process. 1 week ago, Governor Holcomb announced the state's eviction moratorium will not be extended. Working for you, WRTV learned some community groups are preparing for the fallout. Holy Family Shelter expects the need for assistance to grow even more after the eviction moratorium is lifted in 2 days. The shelter itself is already at capacity.
I think the need for families regarding these services is going to be cataclysmic. The moratorium itself has held off a number of families that otherwise would have become literally homeless on the street.
The shelter is working to place families in extended stay hotels and provide other necessities and resources. Many organizations, churches, and shelters are also stepping up to help negotiate payment plans between families and landlords to prevent evictions. And this week, the Indianapolis City County Council approved an additional $7.5 million in funding for rental assistance in Marion County. For information on that program, go to indyrent.org. If you live anywhere in the state outside of Marion County, go to indianahousingnow.org. The state is adding another $15 million to that program.
Moratoriums on utility disconnections also end on Friday. Today, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission declined to end its order. The IURC is providing some relief for customers. It ordered utility companies to offer extended payment arrangements of 6 months through October 12th. It also announced the continued suspension of late fees, deposits, disconnection fees, and reconnection fees through October 12th.
Instead of serving customers again for the first time in weeks, bars and clubs across Marion County are closed indefinitely.
We've kind of just started to expect not to reopen, and we'll be pleasantly shocked when and if we can.
That's Lane Campbell, the business manager for Casbah and Broad Ripple, sharing her thoughts on the latest public health order. It extends the closures that Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett announced 3 weeks ago. The extension has no planned end date. Campbell is trying to come up with new ways to generate business, but says she understands why her bar is not allowed to reopen yet.
If we sold sandwiches, could then we maybe not be considered a bar, but at the end of the day, I think one of the rules they posted yesterday was any bar that hadn't been serving food, like a full menu prior to March 20th, couldn't, try to do that now. And I get it. I mean, I think bars are risky right now, but it's also super tough because that means a lot of people are out of jobs. We want this pandemic to end sooner than later, and I believe we all have to do our part.
Under the latest Marion County order, all ages of restaurants are limited to 50% indoor and outdoor capacity. Age-restricted restaurants are limited to 25% indoor capacity. No indoor bar service is permitted.
The Rebound Indiana is our commitment to ensuring systems in place are helping Hoosiers get back on their feet as promised. Tonight, WRTV Investigates is digging into why some colleges are spending money on lobbyists even amid COVID-19 financial woes. We partnered with Newsy to review congressional records and found Ivy Tech is the only Indiana higher education institution that has paid a lobbyist to fight for more coronavirus emergency aid. Records show so far this year, Ivy Tech paid $20,000. That's a fraction of its overall budget to the law firm Krieg DeVoe. Ivy Tech and their lobbyists talked to congressional leaders about the CARES Act and urged them to make sure Ivy Tech was included in any future stimulus packages.
The amount that we spend in having people who are able to talk to congressional leaders is small in comparison to the amount of money that students receive from the federal government. And again, Ivy Tech needs to make sure that we are in compliance with federal law so that we can continue to receive that money on behalf of students.
Ivy Tech received $33 million in federal CARES Act money. Half of it is going to students for things like computers so they can do virtual learning. Ivy Tech is not alone in its lobbying efforts either. Congressional filings reviewed by our partners at Newsy show 80 schools, big and small, private and public, paid lobbyists to work on COVID-related issues at the nation's capital.
As many families go to e-learning either by choice or a requirement, many parents are concerned about safety. A Danville nonprofit is holding an event to help parents navigate virtual learning and keep kids safe online. Sheltering Wings will hold a webinar tomorrow night. It will focus on parental controls, safeguarding apps, navigating social media, and other tips. 41% of tweens and 62% of teens spend more than 4 hours on their phones each day, and young people are more than twice as likely as they were just a few weeks ago to say they must use computers for homework each night.
We want to be able to offer parents resources. So we have like some just general information about managing technology and the usage of it, from like creating a media plan and focused family time and flexibility and things like that, as well as safety.
The free webinar begins at 6:30 tomorrow evening. You have until 5:30 p.m. to register for the event. You can find a link to register by clicking on this story on our website at WRTV.com or the WRTV app.
The race for the White House is heating up now that Joe Biden has a running mate. Today, Biden and Senator Kamala Harris made their first public appearance together. ABC's Andrew Dimber reports Harris and President Trump are wasting no time going on the attack.
The stage is set, and so is the Democratic ticket in the race for the White House.
The choice we make this November is going to decide the future of America for a very, very long time. For the first time, your next Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris.
Political rivals turned running mates as Joe Biden officially introduces California Senator Kamala Harris as his pick for vice president.
And I'm ready to get to work.
With the VP nod, Harris will become the first black woman to appear on a major party's ballot. She's also the first Asian American to get the nomination.
My mother, Shamala, raised my sister Maya and me to believe that it was up to us and every generation of Americans to keep on marching.
Harris, a graduate from Howard University, is no stranger to trailblazing political paths. She was the first black woman to be elected district attorney in San Francisco and went on to become the first woman ever to serve as California's attorney general, eventually representing California in the U.S. Senate.
It's the people who I have fought for as a United States Senator, where I've worked every day to hold Trump officials accountable to the American people.
President Trump once backed Harris in her California election efforts before he was president. He and his daughter Ivanka contributed to several of Harris's campaigns. But now Trump is teeing off against the newly minted team that's looking to end his re-election bid. In a sit-down interview with Eric Bolling of Sinclair, the president sharpening his attacks with less than 100 days until the November election.
She is a disaster. She's going to be a disaster, I think, for their party.
Is anyone surprised Donald Trump has a problem with a strong woman or strong women across the board?
After Harris was officially introduced as Joe Biden's running mate, the Democratic duo getting right to work, hitting the campaign trail, going to their very first fundraiser together as a Democratic ticket. Andrew Dimber, ABC News, Wilmington, Delaware.
And we'll focus on rain chances for the end of the week, but does that mean it will linger over the weekend? The details coming up.
It may not be May, but it is that time of year. WRTV's trackside coverage kicked off today as action ramps up at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the 104th running of the Indy 500 less than 2 weeks away.
And next, the Pacers playoff matchup is officially set. After a big comeback win, we'll show you what you missed if you turned the game off early.
Today we'll have to wait and see what happened to Russell. There is Justin.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
A comeback win for the Pacers as they get closer to the playoffs. After a tough start for the blue and gold, it was a back-and-forth game. T.J. Warren and Malcolm Brogdon sat out with soreness. Doug McDermott scored 16 points off the bench. Miles Turner and Justin Holiday led the team with 18 each. Holiday hit 2 free throws in the final 10 seconds, sealing the victory. Indiana wins 108-104. That win means the Pacers and Miami Heat will face off in the first round of the NBA playoffs. The two play each other on Friday in the last regular matchup of the season, of the restart here. The playoffs will get underway on Monday or Tuesday.
Now for a look at your forecast, we're taking a live look outside where we finally heard the race cars out on the track today for the first day of practice for the Indy 500. And it looks quite nice out there right now. Some lights are on and we can see the pylon lit, Kevin.
Yeah, I always love looking at the Motor Speedway at night. We don't have an iris control, so the scoring pylon looks like a glow stick, doesn't it?
It does,
just kind of lighting up the whole straightaway. Okay, fog in the morning, not a big deal. Anywhere south of Interstate 70, I think some light patchy fog. I just mentioned that because temperatures are steady in the 60s. It'll be close to the dew point with light wind. Okay, rain chance tomorrow minimal. The better chance Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But even then, 40% chance we'll see a shower or thunderstorm. This is something to look forward to. The humidity level will really fall off the map early next week and set the stage for what should be a very nice week next week. Lower humidity, temperatures will follow as well, dropping into the 70s for highs on Tuesday and Wednesday. As far as beyond the 7-day forecast, indications are below average temperatures for the Hoosier State will continue. 83 would be the average high, and below average rainfall, so a cooler than normal and drier than normal stretch. One more time, got to look at this. Sign me up if they have a night race at the Motor Speedway. I would love to see that. It'd be a nice evening. Dry and warm for the start tomorrow. Temperatures back into the lower 70s already by 9 a.m. Afternoon temperatures with the wind east at about 10 miles per hour. Not much different than today or yesterday, still in the mid 80s. If we see an isolated shower, it would be to the southwest. This is Friday at 1 o'clock. Friday at 4 o'clock, you see scattered showers, isolated thunderstorms. Those will continue into the evening hours and nighttime as they kind of rotate back in from Ohio, from southeast to northwest. Temperatures a little cooler Friday because of more cloud cover and the scattered showers and thunderstorms. Twin 86-degree highs over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, both days a little above average. And then next week, feels great would be the headline with the lower humidity and those cooler temperatures returning. And you'll notice low temperatures will be back into the 50s as well. Tuesday and Wednesday morning, temperatures will be in the 50s, and that's a trend I think that will continue Thursday and Friday. We can look forward to that sticking around for a while. You don't like it when it's just cool or so for a day and then pulled right out from under you. Amanda, back to you.
Thank you, Kevin. And now back to the coronavirus crisis. Today, the director of the Centers for Disease Control issued a stark warning about the fall. And as ABC's Romina Puga reports, the debate over in-person learning is pitting some parents and students against teachers.
The debate over in-person learning heating up, with President Trump reiterating his call to reopen schools.
Virtual is not as good as being there.
In Arizona, a state battered by the virus, parents and students demanding in-person classes, some angry at teachers who don't feel safe coming to class.
They're teachers, this is their job, and this is what they need to be here to do.
But teacher Brad Charles has diabetes and is worried about the risk, so he's calling it quits.
I feel like, in a way, they've made us enemies.
In Cherokee County, Georgia, more than 1,000 students and staff quarantined after dozens tested positive. 2 high schools now shuttered for 14 days. And North Paulding High School, also in Georgia, announced they're switching to a hybrid schedule after 35 people tested positive. These images of packed hallways going viral. But some students are protesting the decision to switch to partial online learning.
Everyone has the right to make their own decisions and have opinions, but we shouldn't be forced to go online because others are fearful.
In New Jersey, the governor had called for a reopening, but hundreds of teachers have refused to return. Governor Murphy on Wednesday relenting, giving schools the option of going all virtual.
There is no one-size-fits-all plan to this very difficult situation.
The CDC director warning, from a health perspective, this could be the worst fall we've ever had, depending how the American people choose to respond and if we adhere to mask wearing.
Well, I'm not asking some of America to do it. We all got to do it.
In Colorado, Romina Puga, ABC News.
For some students returning to school, the risk of COVID-19 starts well before they walk into the building. Our partners at Newsy are getting answers about possible exposure on the school bus.
As the school year starts, you might be wondering about the risks of getting sick with COVID-19. We asked the experts, what's the risk of riding the school bus? Their take, the risk of contracting COVID-19 from riding the bus is high risk.
The bus is a very small, confined space. And boy, that is what this virus really enjoys. Small, confined spaces with not so good ventilation.
When we ride the bus, we like to do a lot of talking and laughing. So that is definitely an activity
definitely recommend wearing masks when riding the bus to and from school or going to different activities or riding the public transportation as well.
If you have a bus that is full of 40 students that have been riding together for 40 minutes, that is going to be a very dicey situation. But I think that as some districts are starting to see that their buses should have about 12 students on them, that there should be one student every other seat, then I think that if you have the windows down, I think that is a less risky situation.
For more answers on what is low, medium, or high risk, visit newsy.com/what's the risk.
From the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, this is Trackside 6.
Wrapping up day one at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Looking ahead to the 104th running of the Indianapolis 500 a week from Sunday. Day first, Tony Kanaan. First thing you realize when you walk in here, we miss the fans badly, don't we?
The weirdest thing ever. No traffic. Walking out of the garages and not seeing anybody with a pen and a paper waiting for your autograph. It was an impact for me, Dave, for sure. I knew this was coming, but it was sad. It was actually the sad part of the day was not having anybody here.
This was really cool. What a way to kick the day off. Unveiling the pace car. You need one of these, TK.
Well, we'll get it next weekend.
A C8 Corvette Coupe, 495 horsepower, tops out at around 194 miles an hour, 0 to 60 in 2.9. First ever mid-engine Corvette. Very cool, and this was cool as well. Parnelli Jones on his 87th birthday from California, virtually waving the green flag, the oldest living Indy 500 winner. Won it back in 1963. And Roger this is going to take a while to get used to. Roger Penske in an IMS shirt.
No, actually in an IMS golf cart. It was so weird to see him like that. But it's almost like I was driving in with my golf cart and I actually crossed paths with him going the other way. And it was like, oh man, the owner's here, you know? Like before it was, oh, Roger's here, but he owns Penske, we're gonna try to beat him. Now you're like, am I in the right place? Am I wearing the right stuff? You know, it was weird.
Practice, you had a veteran session, then rookies and refreshers, and then everybody got out on we're talking about 2,400 laps all told, and there were some packs out there, 17, 18, 19 cars at a time.
Yeah, well, we cut out, a day or so, so everybody needed to start doing if you think about it, today and tomorrow would be the race runs. Friday's Fast Friday already, so you're getting ready for qualifying Saturday and then a little bit of work on Sunday, and that's it. So, and you have carb day, but a lot of people doing race stuff today, which was nice to see.
James Hinchcliffe was the fastest. Remember, he doesn't have a full-time ride. He's kind of a part-timer. Looked very good out there.
Neither do I.
Well, another guy. Anyway, 224.5, but this is the quick six. No toe, and Hinch is in there as well. A nice afternoon for Andretti Autosport, but a lot of guys working on a race setup, maybe not qualifying.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we gotta say what happens in the session and times, but we have all other things that we actually evaluate, and we have this average of top 30 fastest laps, and we have 4 Penskes in the top 4, so we'll see what's going to happen.
And you had a very good day, you said earlier.
It was an awesome day. We ran in the top 10 all day. The last hour we decided not to run. We had a little issue, and we said, we'll put it away. I'm happy with the car.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a little bit of work, but it was, for me, I hadn't had this as good as a first day as I had today in a long time, so I'm happy.
Day one's in the books. The only thing we're now getting used to is wearing masks while we're doing Trackside 6 segments.
Correct, and actually I like the social distancing, so I'll...
You like it a little too much.
See, people can see that I'm smiling or not now. That sucks.
For Tony Kanaan, I'm Dave First. Have a great night.
Temperatures in the morning in the upper 60s, dry tomorrow, especially from Indianapolis north. There could be an isolated shower south. Temperatures will move into the mid-80s once again during the afternoon. Amanda?
We'll leave you with this look outside of downtown Indianapolis. Thanks for joining us tonight. Good night.